Welcome! And today we'll dive into the confession and reactions to the post from Porta Sponge titled, I yelled at my grandpa with dementia. Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his pen so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. Oh boy, let's get ready for some confessions. I yelled at my grandpa who is suffering from dementia. Now it's the last memory he had of me. When I was a teen, my Lolo, grandpa, stayed with us. At that time, he suffered from early signs of dementia. I'm actually very fond of him, and we were actually very close because he took care of us since early childhood and he was present when I was growing up. I was not the perfect child, nor am I a good person when I was a teen. I often lose my temper over the simplest things. Since my grandpa was suffering dementia, he often repeat things, like topics, questions, etc. I was busy with something back then and my grandpa asked me for the 5th time, when will dinner be ready? I easily lost my temper and yelled at him. I remember the words I said that I would regret forever. I remember saying, Lolo, for the last time, it's too effing early. Why can't you effing understand? I saw and felt the emotions he just felt and immediately said sorry. For the first time I saw tears in my grandpa and he said sorry for having dementia. A couple of months later his dementia worsened to Alzheimer's, and the first time I saw him again, I saw his repulsed look and reaction, the same one I saw that day. And every time we would visit, I would always be welcomed by that emotion. I effing hate teen self for being a self-absorbed douchebag. My grandpa died last year and I'm the only one he never mentioned by name in his will. Edit, I never had this much support over the internet. I'm truly grateful for all of you. I have never told this to anyone and my parents never knew about this. I did come to an acceptance of what had happened. But I'd still wish I could have provided him something good before he lost his battle to Alzheimer's. What are your thoughts on Porta Sponge's confession? Please share in the comments below. Now let's go on to hear how some Reddit members reacted to this confession. Chinese developer 69 reacted with, he would have forgiven you. It's not just the one moment in life that counts, it's the whole life experience that counts, and you don't get to his age without realizing that we all have ups and downs. Go easy on yourself, kiddo. He clearly loved you and you love him, and if anything else, don't let that get in the way. Please forgive yourself. Porta Sponge followed up with, I came to the point of acceptance, but I am still angry at my former self. I just really wished I could have done better to him. Chinese developer 69 reacted with, I have a similar experience in my life. My grandfather was placed in a nursing home and I didn't visit him for those 8 months because I had gotten an eyebrow piercing and was embarrassed for him to see it. My mom told me he was very ill and I visited him and he lit up, and they couldn't believe how well he seemed after being so ill. He passed away the next day. I hate that I left him in that place for those months without visiting him. He was my best friend in many ways. I'm crying as I write this, and this was in 1996. But I know he wouldn't want me wasting a minute of my life tormenting myself over this mistake, when we have so many other amazing memories I could draw on. It's not easy, but you have to honor their wishes for you in this life. He watched you grow up from a baby and I promise you he wants you to draw upon better times when you think of him, and to not beat yourself up if you can help it. Queso Dipset followed up with, sorry man, former selves can be really horrible sometimes. I know from experience. Just know that you are not the same person and your grandpa absolutely loved you and under normal circumstances. He would have brushed that moment off and he would have told you stop worrying about it. He is also probably extremely proud of the person that you've become. Miss Coco Cheetah followed up with, I yelled at my grandma for a stupid thing the day she died. I was a brat and was demanding her help with something from school, but she was watching a movie and then decided to go for her evening walk. She got run over 2 blocks away from our home. And it kills me that the last memory of her with me was a tantrum. Frog Boy Extreme chimed in with, we all have our tantrums and I am absolutely positive that she didn't see that as who you truly are. I can't imagine how difficult that is, but I'm sure she wouldn't want you to think that's the last memory she had of you. We're all brats at some point, but the important thing is that our family still loves us even when we go through those moments of intense frustration. GFA22 reacted with, Man, I am lucky. My grandpa and I would yell and argue and fight with each other all the time. Surprisingly, everyone else in the family appreciated it because I was the same temperate as grandpa and the only one who would challenge him. We are best of buds now. I am sure if he wasn't dealing with his issues, you guys would be the same. Bacon composter reacted with, every time I have lost someone, I have always had regrets like that. I'm so sorry you had to experience it at a young age. All you can really do is cherish time with the people you love. Screwing up is just part of being human. Dia Sky reacted with, anger and frustration are often signs of growth. It's okay to be angry, to be disappointed. Just know that it was your past self, and you learn from it and can be angry at your mistakes, so you can do better for others. Video Game Toast reacted with, if you're still angry, you haven't fully accepted it. When you've made peace with it, the wisdom you've gained will stay, but the emotions won't. Peace. Gwixted reacted with, you have to learn to forgive yourself. This is extremely important. And truly do it. Actually say the words to yourself and mean it. Otherwise you'll go years, decades even, with that awful feeling, and it'll impact your entire life. Know that he doesn't want that for you. And forgive yourself as he would have forgiven you. We all make mistakes somewhere in our life, especially as children with brains that are developing. That's how we learn. You learned. You grew as a person and know it was wrong. It could have even been depression that caused it. Yeah, that's one of the symptoms. Or just an overwhelmed human being. You're not a bad person. This guilt you feel shows how good of a person you truly are, and that strong-hearted empathy is eating a hole in you. Don't let it. Trust me. Don't devalue your self-worth at all. You made a mistake and that's okay. You learned from it and that's great. I'm both a child who made mistakes and one who held on to them until my 30s. I'm also a dad of 3 and I don't hold any grudges with them. I understand life's tough on all of us sometimes. Talk to a counselor. Seriously. It's not only about getting help, which is nothing to be ashamed about or too good for. It's about learning skills that you'll use in many situations to help you grow even more. And be able to better understand and help others. On a Fool's Vacation reacted with, this is exactly what I was thinking. I had a similar experience with my grandmother before she passed. We were relatively close growing up. I'm one of maybe 30 grandchildren. And when she was in her final weeks/months, I was the only one who visited her every day. She was on drugs for pain because she developed bed sores, and she had some moments of hallucinating. At least that's what my mom told me. In any case, I was around 15 when I visited her one evening after work around 5 p.m. And I've always been afraid of the dark and nighttime. It was winter here in Canada, so it got dark early, and I'm sitting in her room while she's resting. She wakes up, says hi, and asks me when I got there. I said maybe 20 minutes ago. She looks past me behind me and says in French, "Qu'est-ce qu'il fait ici celui-là?" Loosely translated to "What's he doing here, that one?" in a manner that's a bit disrespectful. I knew she was referring to my grandfather who passed 10 years before her, and she resented as they got older. I looked behind me and saw no one. So I said, "There's no one here," and she goes, yes, he's here, tell him to leave, I don't want to see him." So I start freaking out because already it's nighttime, and I'm afraid of my own shadow, let alone someone who came back from the dead. I start yelling at her mostly out of fear because I'm shaking, and she goes, "Stop yelling at me." I was so ashamed. I grew up in a traditional home where parents and grandparents are given the ultimate level of respect. And I wanted to respect her. She just scared the life out of me. I said I was sorry, but I was too scared to stay, so I left. I was so ashamed to go back for several weeks after. My mom helped me through it, and thankfully I got over myself and went back to visit her before she died, but she was really not that conscious the following visits. All this to say, I was able to get over it because I love and respect her. And I know that she was wise and judged people by the lifetime of experience she had with them and not from an individual incident. I hope I honored her enough throughout our time together that she valued that first and foremost. Polar Bear 91 reacted with, I remember getting irritated by my grandpa when he would constantly repeat his sentences towards the last few years of his life. He one day fell and broke his hip in 2016, and for a whole year till the end of 2017 before he passed he was put in a nursing home. We all knew he wasn't going to survive past 2017, and in that year he slowly drifted away from us. It was so painful to see, and I really felt horrible for the way I treated him when he was still able to talk to me. I was also really close to him growing up, and to have this as the last few memories of him saddens me till this day. There needs to be better education on dementia and how people can behave around their loved ones who has it. True Queer reacted with. Spring 2019, my grandma found out she had advanced cancer of some form, and in less than a week she was basically on death's door. My dad called me and said if I wanted to see her and say goodbye, now was the time. I lived 2.5 hours away, and I needed some new tires because my old ones were going bald. So I shelled out $500 to replace 2 of them because that's all I could afford. Also, I had to work that day, so by the time I got done with work and got the tires replaced it was like 6:30. So by the time I got up to where my grandma lived it was already 9 p.m. I came in and sat down, and she didn't even recognize me. She thought I was some cousin I'd never even heard of. Turns out one of my uncles had an illegitimate son nobody ever told me about. 10 minutes later she was too tired and needed some sleep. I needed to get back home because I still had to work the next morning. The worst part was, a massive blizzard was just starting when I arrived, and my 2.5 hours drive back home turned into a 4-hour drive because I was worried I was gonna hit the ditch. I couldn't see the road, I could barely see the fence on the side of the interstate. I was so scared that night. So I spent $500, drove for 6.5 hours in a blizzard, for a 10-minute visit with my grandma who didn't even recognize me. And then a couple days later she passed away. Life's cruel sometimes. And finally, an innocent soul reacted with. While you definitely made a mistake, it is more dementia's fault than your own. I'm sure that your grandfather would understand if he wasn't suffering from such a devastating illness. We are all human. Humans, at times, let emotion get the best of them, especially for those who aren't full adults. The feelings of regret that you have are real, and your feelings towards your grandpa are genuine. I think that's the more important thing here. Well, there you have it. A perfectly great question answered by a bunch of fine and honorable citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. I think he found more drama for me to share with you. See you soon.